Hello there. What's this? An old compact Presario 4504 in all its glory. Small, as you can see, it's really small. Really cute little computer. Really grabby, as you can see too. I gotta clean it. It's got typical stuff for a computer of its age. Now, what do I want to do with this thing? I want to set up an IRC server, a retro IRC server with it. So you'd say, well, why don't you do it on your server? This is my main server right here. It's a quad-core Xeon. It's an E5405 and 12 gigs of RAM, lots of stuff. I don't know, it's currently in maintenance. I get a... what did I have to do with it? Well, I had to do something to it, so it's offline right now. Well, why don't you do it on your server? Because it doesn't have the charm that this thing has. This thing is... I think it came with a 166 megahertz Pentium MMX, 16 megabyte of RAM. Yeah, I think 16 megabyte of RAM. And 2 gigabyte hard drive. I think it's been a while, it's been like 2 years since I don't either power it up or power it on or open it up. But I think it currently has a 266 megahertz K62. That is a 300 megahertz K62 that is running at 266 because the fastest bus speed that this motherboard supports is 66 megahertz. It's been upgraded to full 80 megabyte of RAM. It doesn't accept any more than that. I think I have upgraded the BIOS to the latest and it doesn't take more than 80 megabyte of RAM. So that's maxed out. It has integrated graphics. I think it is an S3 something, a really crappy 2D accelerator, nothing special. It's got USB, which is really cool, USB 1.1, and built-in audio, so everything's built into the motherboard. Has this little cute small power supply on it, and it's got 3 ISA slots and 1 PCI slot. Of course, one of them is shared, so you can either put an ISA or a PCI card in there, not both. I think it has a problem with capacitors because the video output looks really bad. At least it did last time I used it. This was my retro gaming computer. I had an ATI Rage 128. An ATI Rage 2 Plus DVD. That's what I had on it. An ATI Rage 2 Plus DVD. PCI, of course, in it, and the Sound Blaster 16 because the built-in sound output sounded like crap too. But I have since upgraded to a standard computer with a baby AT motherboard, and I think I put a 500 MHz K62 on it, and it's got 96 megabytes of EDO RAM in there, 72-pin SIMs. This thing uses 168-pin DIMMs. So, yeah, my plan is putting a network card in it. I have an appropriate network card for it. This little 3Com old piece of, well, it's not really a piece of crap, it's actually a really good card. It's 10100, of course. Why would an IRC server need gigabit? And well, let's open it up. So here's the inside of the thing. I have this little grounding plate for the back. Oh, it's missing the hard drive tray. Must have taken it out and never put it back in. Huh. Not really a problem. I have a solution for that. Power supply and all the ribbon cables, IDE, floppy and stuff. As you can see, 3 ISA slots, 1 PCI slot. No, this comes from the CD-ROM drive. This is the audio input, you know, for when CPUs weren't powerful enough to decode CD audio. I don't know what this is doing here. Oh, I don't even have a heatsink for it. I will have to look for a heatsink for the thing. But there's a K6 too. Around, and the motherboard, I think it came out pushing it this way. Of course, there was a locking screw there a long time ago in a faraway galaxy, and I don't know if that's trademarked or not. And the motherboard comes out. Of course, you have to remove all these ribbon cables. And the front buttons, you have to remove too. It has these buttons in the front: volume, sleep, and I think this is internet. I'm not sure why you would have an internet button. This came with a 56K modem, a really huge, massive, half-length, full-height ISA card. And let's disconnect the power supply. It is just a standard AT connector. Let's take a look at the motherboard. Yeah, it was an S3 Trio 64 V2DX. The DX probably means piece of shit. A DX usually means piece of shit in computer terms. DIMM slot, I will have to populate this with a 64 megabyte DIMM. I thought it had one, but it looks like I have removed it. Capacitors don't seem to be bulging or anything. Don't seem to be. Let's take a look at the CPU right here. The story behind the CPU is actually pretty cool. So yeah. Oh, it's a 333, but it was running at 266 inside this machine. The story behind this CPU is actually pretty cool. I was coming back home from the computer store. I had bought just a little syringe of thermal paste, and as I was walking down the street, something under a car caught my eye, and I saw this. A freaking K62, just like that, on the ground. It had some goop on the, I don't know, it looked like hot snot or something on the pins, and it had some bent pins, but yeah. Pretty cool find. I had never seen a K62 in real life before I got this one. Then I got a bunch of them from my school, which retired a whole fleet of computers with them. So let's take a look at this thing, shall we? Standard Intel chipset. I think this is an 820 chipset, might it be? I'm not sure. Well, standard Intel chipset. Weird to see an AMD CPU with an Intel chipset. You don't see that these days anymore. You have an ESS audio drive, cheapo sound card. Crappiest thing ever. You have this little, what is it? TDA one. Oh, what the heck? Why would it have an audio amplifier? Well, it seems like this thing can drive 8 ohm speakers out of the headphone output. What do you know? As I showed you the graphics card. What's that on it? 40 nanosecond EDO RAM for the graphics card. 16 megabyte of integrated RAM. If I had the proper tools, I could probably put another 16 megs in here, but I don't have a reflow station or anything. What is this? Oh, I think it is separated in 2 banks, so I could put, like, yeah, a coast slot, COAST slot, cache, which means, oh, I just ate and I can really talk. Cache on a stick. Back when CPUs didn't have built-in cache. This is the built-in cache into the motherboard. I don't know how much cache this thing has. I'm guessing it has 32K of cache, maybe. I don't know. Power regulation for the CPU. Really huge heatsinks on these regulators. Let's see the brand of those caps. What are they? Can see crap. And naturally, my phone ran out of storage space. Where was I? Yeah, the capacitors. These are IQ brand something, yeah. Cheap Chinese crap. Where the heck? There. And those green ones are... what are they? Oh, they're Sanyo caps. So those are good. Those are good capacitors. Well, next thing I have to do is find a processor for this. I don't want to run the K62 in there. And find a suitable 64 megabyte RAM stick for this. Oh, also, hard drive. Before I go, it's that trouble. This thing's gonna be running 24/7 in my room, supposedly. So, the hard drive has to be quiet. Now, there's a problem. This motherboard only supports up to 4 gigabyte hard drives, I think. It's either 4 or 8 gigabytes, I'm not sure. It will refuse to boot if it has anything higher than that. What's the problem with with newer hard... No, actually, what's the problem with older hard drives that are lower than 8 gigabytes in size? They are noisy. They are really noisy. And of course, I don't want noise in my room. So, I have a solution for that, and that is 2 things. This thing, which is an adapter for putting compact flash cards into IDE connectors. Real easy, really cool. And I have a 4 gigabyte compact flash card. This contains actually the old OS for my server, but I retired it and I'm using now a 40 gigabyte IDE hard drive. So these 2 things I'm gonna put into there like that, and I won't have to deal with the noise of an old hard drive clunking away. Although I must say the Seagate Medalist that was inside this thing sounded beautiful. I can sleep with it but it did sound beautiful. So let me get the parts, the CPU and the RAM. So here I have the parts. This is my good old RAM box for all kinds of RAM, SD RAM, look, RD RAM, Rambus RAM, DDR, all kinds of stuff. So I gotta find a dual-sided 64 megabyte non-ECC unbuffered DIMM there. And here I have a selection of Pentiums. Here I have a late Pentium MMX. I think this is what I'm probably gonna put in there. It's 200, it looks like. What does it say? Yep, a 200 MHz Pentium MMX. This is one in a ceramic package. This is a 166 MMX. This is a 133, and if this has a funny bent pin, which is bent in a funny way, I think, nope, this isn't the one. This is a 100 MHz Pentium. Let's look for that pin. There it is, the funny pin in there. This thing was my first CPU in my first computer. Huh. It actually had a Pentium 2 sticker on the case, but this thing is a Pentium, of course, and it had this. Can't remember anything else from the computer. And this is another Pentium. This is another 100 MHz. So what I'm gonna put inside there is this Pentium MMX 200 MHz, really cool CPU. Gonna put that in there. I'm gonna use this heatsink and fan, ball bearing fan, high quality. Probably gonna connect it to 5 volts instead of the full 12, because that thing doesn't need that much cooling. Why did I remove why don't I just use the K62? Because who wants full 686 instruction set when you can have 586 in there, right? MMX is enough. What am I gonna run on the thing? Software. I'm planning on running Windows NT 4 point something, the latest Windows NT 4 point whatever that I can find. I know that is 32-bit, and it would really benefit from having the K62 because 32-bit performance on P5 Pentiums is crappy, and I know these things are designed for 16-bit software, but well, who cares? I'm gonna look for Windows NT 4. I hope it has drivers for my network card, and that's it. I don't know really what the IRC server can be. I don't really know. I have no clue what the software is called, but I'm pretty sure there's a server. There's an IRC server for Windows NT 4. I'm pretty sure there is. Gosh darn, this motherboard is picky with RAM. This is the pickiest freaking motherboard. All these modules, I've tested them all. It wouldn't detect more than 16 megabyte on them. On some it would detect 1 megabyte, on some it would detect 8 megabyte, and some it would detect 16. Also with these. I have these two modules, which it detects to be 32 megabyte. Now, they're not actually 32 megabyte modules. This is a 512 megabyte module, pretty much the maximum capacity you can get on desktop RAM, and it only detects it as a 32 megabyte module, so 48 megabyte total. And this other 128 megabyte, which actually uses BGA. This is a really modern really late module, which, well, as you can see, uses BGA chips, which is pretty cool. And this is a 128 megabyte stick, and it runs, well, it is detected as a 32 megabyte stick. I have looked up the specs on this thing, and it seems like 32 megabyte DIMMs is the maximum it will take, so I'm gonna use this 128 megabyte stick even if it just detects 32 megabyte. So I have a total of 48 megabytes of RAM. I think it will be enough for Windows NT 4.0. I hope it is. Let's turn the thing on. Of course I have to reach for the power switch on the back because there's no soft burn on this thing. Oh, I also have hooked up the compact flash card right there. Let's go into the setup. In all compacts you have, whoa, that is new. That I didn't expect. Probably a bad contact on the RAM or something. I wonder why it was doing this, since it doesn't use system RAM as video RAM. But it was booting fine before. Let's try and boot it up again. Yep, there it goes. You can see blinking cursor because I haven't entered BIOS. Let's reboot it. Control Delete. And keep pressed escape. Compact, there we go. Enter setup. Let's look at this. Oh wow! You gotta be kidding me. I gotta take a look at the time. The date is right. That much I know. That's impressive. Date is right. Let's look at the time. Let's go to my microwave and see if the time is right. No, my microwave is like 10 minutes off. No, 20 minutes off actually. Well, we're actually in daylight saving time, so I think that is actually UTC time, and that is right. GMT +1, so the time and the date are both right. That is awesome. That is really freaking awesome. That I haven't changed the battery. That presumably is the original CMOS battery on the thing, and this thing hasn't been turned on in like 2 years. So that is impressive to say the least. As you can see, extended memory 48 megabyte, and the CF card is detected perfectly fine. Let's take a look at it. Type auto 32-bit I/O. Let's enable that. Faster transfers. Let's see, advanced. Plug and play OS, of course. Yeah, well, as you can see, well, we don't have anything plugged in yet. USB controller enabled, memory cache. Secure setup. Peripheral config. Serial port. We'll leave these at default settings. These other, so yeah, it actually is configured from when I had an install of Debian on it, I think. And that's why it has the large disk access mode as other. I'll set it up to DOS, of course, because I'm gonna install Windows on it. Audio options. What options will it have? Well, I'm expecting typical stuff, Sound Blaster compatibility, IRQ and all that. Yeah. Interrupts, FM. Oh, this actually has FM. What do you know? I'm gonna disable it, of course. And it looks like the video output isn't actually as crappy as it was when I plugged it in last time. Maybe it was my monitor actually. Power, what power is it gonna have? Power savings, customized, hard disk, timeout. Let's disable that. Auto suspend, disabled too, since this is gonna be a server. Modem ring, I don't have a modem. Resume on time. Yeah. It only has sleep controls because this thing doesn't have soft power off. Keyboard wake up, advanced options. Oh, that's what IRQs can turn it on and off. Boot, hard drive, bootable ISA cards. Oh, there we go. It's Pro CF card. Let's put that on first. I'll put the hard drive into the first. Let's see if it boots into GNU Linux. Hard drive. Alright. Exit saving changes. Let's see if it boots into GNU Linux. The GNU Linux install that is in there. I highly doubt it, but it's only trying. Oh, look, grub. Ah, it's a 686 kernel. It won't work. I'm waiting for a kernel panic. Maybe it'll just hang there. But I'm waiting for a kernel panic. It isn't reading from the card or anything, so I think it just hung up in there. Keyboard lights aren't blinking though, but yeah, I don't think it'll work. So let's get a DOS, an MS-DOS, boot floppy, and Windows NT 4 onto a hard drive, and we'll install it from there because it's the fastest way, and I don't have to spend money on CD-ROMs. That'll probably be the next part. I'm not gonna do. Oh, as you can see, I'm in. You can actually see my reflection there. Hello. Well, that's it for now. Wait for the next part. Bye.